Hey, well, welcome to How to Create a Company That Runs Without You. My name is Casey Graham, and that's my family. My wife's name is Casey as well. We are Casey and Casey Graham. That's my daughter, Darby, and that's my crazy son, Gage. This is it's really not that different of what our family is really like. Would you agree with that, Renee? It kind of is. This is more of who we are than meets the eye. So that's my family. And let's just dive into this and talk about how to create the company that runs without you. I've been able to successfully do this two specific times. One recently, and be able to sell the company, and I just want to share about it. This is me. This is Renee, who is in the room today. We've been together for 14 years working together. She's been my assistant and way more than that. And that was a business partner, Michael, in one of the businesses that I started. And this is us at the Inc. 5000, Inc. 500 conference. And basically, this is just a picture to show that the companies, one of the companies we created was able to grow and scale. And we had an 832% revenue growth. And we were the 600 and I think I can't remember the exact number. I think 602 fastest growing company in the United States of America. And so we've been able to create, and I've been able to see what fast growing companies look like, but that's totally different than creating companies that are sellable. This is me selling a company I created. And this is the final paperwork. You used to have to fly to New York and do all kind of wear a suit. Now they just fax it to you, send it over email, and that's how you close. And I was able to create a business, not only that was fast growing, but one that sold. And I know a lot of people have a dream to create a business that runs without them. And one of the benefits of creating a business that runs without them, one of the benefits of creating a business that that has a lot of revenue that's growing, is that people want to buy them. And that's where you can get the maximum amount of your wealth as an entrepreneur can come from an exit of a business like this. And a lot of people just don't know that they have a dream of it, don't know the steps. I'm going to give you the steps today on how to do that. But it wasn't all roses. We started out, and this is my 1998 Ford Red Ranger pickup truck. And I used to drive around South Georgia when I started a business 9 years ago. And the goal was I would just go door to door, cold calling, knew nothing about digital marketing, knew nothing about how to get customers or any of that kind of stuff. I literally just went cold calling, door knocking. That's how I started the company. And we went $80,000 in debt doing that strategy. And it was stressful on me, stressful on my family. I had a miserable time. And about 3 to 4 years into the business, the question I was asking was, hey, I thought I got into this entrepreneur thing to be successful, to have a business that runs without me. I thought I was going to get freedom. I had this idea that entrepreneurs live this unbelievable life that was amazing. And then I found out that dream becomes a nightmare for most people, because what happens is most entrepreneurs get intoxicated with their dream and they don't see reality in the market of what's really happening in the market. And because of this, they do not make the necessary changes they need to make to create the business that's going to serve them. And so they end up serving the business. And I went in debt, $80,000. I had to do some drastic things, had to fire a bunch of people. We almost didn't make it, but then we made some changes and we saw some amazing growth and success. And that's why we were able to create the company and stuff like that. So I've seen the upside, guys. I've been in the very bottom of an empty office on the downside saying, hey, how did we lose everything? I've been on both. And I want to share the lessons I've learned. Today has zero statistics. This has nothing to do with data. It has nothing to do with surveys or anything. This just has to do with, out of the, goodness gracious, let's say 5 companies now that I've started and been a part of and had ownership in or run. This is just the way it is. This is just how it works. And I want to share with you how to create the company that runs without you. So if you don't do anything else for the next few minutes, I want you to zone in. I want you to focus in, and I want you to ask yourself the question, how do you create a company that runs without you? And I want you to search for the answers. And I want you to look for the one nugget over the next little bit that's going to be that nugget that could be life-changing for you. So I'm just going to get right after it and help you. There's 3 phases of business. There's 3 phases of business. It's this simple. There's business when you start out. The goal is that you start the company and you're just trying to make a living. You know, I'm actually back at this after selling the company. Sure, I made a bunch of money and all that kind of stuff. That's wonderful. But I was 34 years old when that happened. Like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? What do I want to do? And so what I want to do is I want to start businesses that help people. That's what I love doing. And so I'm back at making a living. I've gone through all three phases of this, but I'm back there. And so this is descriptive of, like, you know, you're in this if the business is completely dependent upon you. So if you went away, the company would go away. This is 93% of small businesses in the United States of America, that it is single operator businesses that have under $100,000 a year in revenue, usually around that range. And it's not a revenue amount that makes it a living company, but it just makes it that way if it's totally dependent upon you, that you have to sell the service, you have to deliver the service, that kind of thing. The descripting phrase of this is a company that's surviving. You're trying to get enough cash in before time runs out so that you can pay your bills. And maybe if you have one or two, a couple people that you're paying, pay the people that you're paying. That's the first phase of business. Then you grow to what's called a lifestyle business. Excuse me. The lifestyle business is a business that runs without you. What I mean by that is that the business can operate without you for a period of time. And I don't necessarily say that it can run, it doesn't have to be like 8 weeks without you or 6 months without you or a year without you. It just means that the business is okay without you. It means that you don't have to show up every single day, and you don't have to sell, and you don't have to market, and you don't have to deliver every single day. It's not dependent on you. You have built a company that gives you a lifestyle. And this company, these are the companies that are kind of succeeding. And there's a lot of companies probably listening to this that you're in this phase. And like for you, you feel like maybe that you've accomplished what you got into business for, is to create a lifestyle, create a bank account balance, create a time freedom that you got. And that's the lifestyle. But the descriptive factor is that it feels like it's succeeding. It feels like it's going up, but the business runs without you. Now, this is where most people think that business success is, but you can't sell a lifestyle business. Well, let me put it this way. You very rarely can sell a lifestyle business. It has to be very rare. And it's not truly the ultimate business, because the business will not grow without you. That's where a lasting business comes in. The lasting business is a business that grows without you. And here's the difference. This business is scaling. The difference between a lifestyle and lasting business, in the lifestyle business, you're growing. What that means is it's relatively a simple idea, and you're just growing your sales. A lasting business means that there can be many things happening, and that it's scaling, which means that it's multiplying. It's growing not by 20% or not by 30%, but it could be like 100% growth. It could be a 200%. It could be a massive uptick in your growth. And we were able to see that at the Rocket Company, and we were able to create a company that had a lasting company. And these are the companies that are the most valuable. You can make a lot of money with a lifestyle company. You can even make a good living with a living business, but the real value comes in when you can create a lasting business. And again, this doesn't have to do with the revenue amount. It isn't like you've got to be at 10 million or you've got to be 100 million or you got to be at 2 million. It just means that the business is growing without you. Have you created that business? So the question is, how do you go from making a living to a lifestyle business? How do you go from lifestyle to lasting? How do you do that? What does that look like? Well, here's the deal. There's jumps that have to happen from making a living to a lifestyle. But the reason we put the squiggly lines here is because there's always tension that happens. This is not easy, and there's different things that fight against you at each phase. And so we're going to walk through what are the decisions you need to make and how do you get to the next level. Now, my next question, Renee, for everybody is, what type of business do you want? Do you want a lasting business? Doesn't mean it's the best business. It just means that's what it is. Do you want a lifestyle business? Do you want a living business? Where do you want to end up? Tell me where you want to end up. I'd love to know. Jonathan want to end up in a lifestyle business, or maybe he has a lifestyle.
I think he has a lifestyle.
He has a lifestyle business. That's great. Where do you want to end up? Where, like, if you said this would be awesome if we ended here, what would that look like? Let me know in the chat. I would love to know from you. If you got it and you said, gosh, we're there. This is my goal. I love it. Lifestyle. Angel is lifestyle. Let's see who else we have. Grady, it looks like he's moving to a lifestyle. And Renee, just let me know as they let these come in, okay? So let's get back to the content, and I'm going to share with you the 5 components of business. So there's 3 phases, but then there's 5 components, and I'm going to walk through the 5 components of every business that's successful. Now, I have a podcast called the 7-Figure CEO Podcast, and on the podcast, I interview 7-figure CEOs. And here is the thing that is so amazing about it is that every single one of them talk in these 5 areas, whether they know it or not. And here's what they are. These are the components of business growth. There's personal. This is you as a human being. This is you as the entrepreneur. There's your personal life. There's people. They talk about staff. We talk about teams. We talk about contractors. We talk about people. There's process. Process is how the business gets done, what happens in the business and how it works. There's profit. There's you either have it or you don't. You either make money or you do not. And there's product. Product is what are you selling? It can be a physical product. It could be a service. It could be a technology. It doesn't matter. What is the product? What is the things that you are offering or the type of things that you are offering? And these are the 5 components of the business. Now, I want to explain in each one of these components. And guys, this recording is a little bit different than what I usually do because I'm kind of really going more scientific. I'm breaking this down for you so you can see what's happening and see exactly what your next steps are. So if you're just listening to this and you're looking for like a quick tip or like, hey, give me the one thing to do, that's not the way this works. This works with a holistic understanding, big picture, then coming back, identifying where you are, and then we'll give you your next steps of where you need to go. So the characteristics of a living business is that personally, you have no time, you got high stress, and you think in days. And what I mean by thinking days is like you're thinking about what to do tomorrow, you're thinking about what to do next week, but you think in 7, 10-day increments, like you're not thinking beyond that. You're just thinking, what do we got to do? How do we survive? And that's kind of where you are. Your time is limited. Your people look like you either have a small group of contractors or part-time employees, or you're just alone. You're doing all the business yourself. My stuff went away. There it goes. The living org chart, this is what it looks like. If you have an org chart, it's you running all over the place in circles. So this is what your org chart of all your people would look like in making a living. Your processes, none to few. You may have a little bit of process, a client onboarding process or how to get a client, but you don't have a bunch of process because you just are trying to survive and make ends meet and sell it and deliver the product. You're not living off processes. You're just getting the work done. You're paying yourself. There's probably no profit. Now you may go, yeah, it's profitable. I'm paying myself. No. I'm talking about where other people are doing the work and that you get to profit off of that. You're probably not doing that. The product is usually singular focus. And it's usually you got a thing that you do. You've got an art that you do. You've got a product that you do. You've got one thing that you do. And this is usually, these are the descriptors of what it looks like to be in this business. But there's a couple of decisions you need to make to advance the business. And I want to give you these decisions. And I think, listen, just do them. And you can grow your business. If you don't, you probably won't. And this is how you get to a lifestyle business. Number 1 is to hire a part-time bookkeeper. You want to hire a part-time bookkeeper. The very first thing you need to do is have somebody else keep your books, period. And there's probably somebody you know, there's probably a person you know, there's probably a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad that used to be in finance and now they stay home and they want to do something on the side. And you say, I don't have any money to pay a bookkeeper. Well, you're never going to have enough money to pay. You just got to start paying. And here's the reality. The best thing about paying people is you only have to pay them either if it's contract or like once a month. So you can pay them after they do the work. So you create the sales and then you pay them. The same thing as an assistant. You need a part-time assistant or you got to hire somebody to deliver your product or your service. The decision to advance to a lifestyle business, the first decision is to hire. Now, this is counterintuitive because you're trying to survive and just make enough money on your own to survive. And you think, I don't have enough money to hire. But here's the reality. I've done this so many times in so many different businesses. You never have enough money. It's never going to be there. The way you will create enough money is by hiring the person because it frees you up to do this. Focus relentlessly on sales or raising money. Now, what I mean by that is I have so many people in the living thing, and I talk to them and they tell me about their idea and how good it is and how different they are. And like, this is my idea. And they're infatuated with their idea and what they do. And they know that they're good at what they do, or they think they're good at what they do. And they think about more about what they do than they think about every single day waking up and getting a sale, every single day waking up and getting a customer, every single day waking up and pushing the business forward. And so focusing relentlessly on sales or raising money, and that's if you're trying to raise money to stay in business, but I would focus relentless on sales first before raising any money. This is the focus of the entrepreneur. To get to a lifestyle business, you have to spend literally 80 to 90% of your time needs to be on sales and marketing early on until you get to at least $1 million. After $1 million, it changes. But to $1 million, sell, 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 sell. Hire the part-time bookkeeper and assistant, somebody maybe to deliver your product or service. But these are the decisions you've got to make. The third thing is you've got to be simple, and you've got to have one product, and you've got to find one market that will pay you. This is very important. So many people think they have a business because, let's just say you're in digital marketing and you've got 3 customers and your digital marketing customers pay you to keep up their websites. You don't have a business if you have 3 customers. What you have is 3 customers. That's it. The reason why it's not sustainable, because if you lose one of them, you lose 33% of your revenue, or whatever the revenue is that they give you. And so you've got to find one product and one market, but the market has to be able to sustain what you do. And so many businesses early on, they do too much. They try to do too many markets. They try to do too many services. They try to have too many products. They have too many offerings. Everything is complicated because you try to do different contracts. Everybody have one contract, have one idea, have one thing that you do, find one market, and this is how you can get to the next level. So that is getting to the characteristic. That is getting to the next level of the lifestyle business. Now, there's characteristics of the lifestyle business I'm going to walk through. Then we're going to walk through the decisions to advance from there, and we're going to hear from somebody who's been able to do this. So here's the reality. A lifestyle business, this is what it feels like. You'll have an increased free time. Now, whether you take that free time or not is your issue, but you have the increased amount of free time. Your stress goes down because, and what I mean by that is you still have stress from like working hard or whatever, but that's just normal in business. But the stress of like, are we going to be around next month goes away. And the stress turns into like, how do we grow? What do we do next? Those kind of questions or things come up. And usually when you start getting this, personally, an entrepreneur starts thinking in months. You're not thinking in days, and you're thinking like, hey, what are we doing next quarter? Or what are we doing 6 months from now? You're not thinking like, how do we stay in business? What do we got to do? How do I get my next customer immediately? Your people is usually a small team hired to your weaknesses. Now, this is very important. They're reactive to the leader. So you hire a small team of people, and these people, they just react to the entrepreneur or entrepreneurs if there's a partnership. The org chart looks like this. You've got the leader in the middle, and then you have a team of doers around them. And the doers just do what the entrepreneur says to do. Now, they may make a few decisions here and there and that kind of thing, but they're really people that are just getting the work done. And it's usually that you've hired the things that are your weakness, not the things that are your strength, or not necessarily things that are your weakness, or things that maybe drain your energy or you just don't want to do consistently. But you have a team of people around you that are pulling off the key components of sales and marketing, delivering the product and operations, paying the bills, keeping in business, maintaining profit margins, those kind of things. And so that's what a lifestyle org chart usually looks like. It's like the entrepreneur is the sun and everybody else is revolving around the entrepreneur. The processes usually look like marketing and sales processes are in place. A lifestyle business has found their market, and they found their product or products that reach this market, and they usually have their marketing and sales in place, and that's what creates the freedom, that's what creates the profit, that's what creates the fun. That these businesses are a lot of fun to be around. The owners feel like they're on top of the world. This is usually when people start making very dumb decisions with their money, and they do stupid things because they think they've been successful, and they think they've created the lasting business, when in reality what it is that they just found a market that was sustainable, but they've got to stay. You got to stay disciplined, and you've got to read. Got to move from gut to data. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. And you've got to be able. That's how you're going to get to the next level. But you definitely have marketing and sales in the process. Processes in place. You have high margins. So the characteristics of a lifestyle business is that you have high margins. So you're just making a lot of money, cash flow positive, and you got money in the bank. This kind of business is a business that's just throwing off cash. And this is when you start seeing the entrepreneur take the vacations. This is when you see the entrepreneur buy the car. This is when you see the entrepreneur do the things that they've always wished they got into business to do because they got a lifestyle business. Now they can do it. The products section of this looks like there's multiple offerings starting to happen. If you're maybe moving from like one thing you do to a couple of things you do. But the reality is, this is why a lifestyle business stays stuck. It's kind of like one of my coaches said, it's like a soccer team of 6-year-olds. If you've ever seen that, they all run to the same ball. And that's what happens in lifestyle businesses, is that everybody on the team focuses on the same ball, and so you go run to one, and then the other suffers, and then you run back to it. But the ball that you run to, you usually do effectively. You do well, you can pull it off, but you can't pull off many things at one time. It's usually singular focus of what you're doing and what you can do well, and that's what it looks like. So I want to just talk with somebody in just a minute that's done these, and they have actually started to advance their business in such a way that it's so raw and fresh. I just had to bring her on. I'll talk to her in just a second. But the couple of decisions you need to make to advance are, you got to hire a management team to your strengths. So if you're wanting to go from a lifestyle business to a lasting business, you've got to start hiring people that actually do what you do. If you like to be in sales and marketing, that you hire a director of sales and marketing. I remember when I did this. One of the best decisions I ever made, and the hardest decisions I made, was giving up sales and marketing in a company, because I thought I had to be the person that drove sales and marketing because I was the owner and the founder. That's bad thinking. The way you get your business to a lasting business is you have other people that are driving what you're good at and everything you're bad at. Basically, you hire to everything, not just your weaknesses. And nobody told me that early on, and when I learned this, it changed everything for me. The other thing is that process business decisions, you got to process them through metrics, not on gut. Gut gets you going and making a living. Gut keeps you going in lifestyle, but you will never build a sustaining, scaling, lasting business on gut. Because what happens is that as the entrepreneur, the numbers get so big and the amount of things get so complicated that you think you're right, but you're not. Because you used to be right doesn't mean you're right anymore. And so there's so much data in how businesses are run now that you've got to make your decision through the metrics of the business, not through that. It's kind of like flying an airplane. You don't fly an airplane by sight. You fly it through a dashboard. And the dashboard, and creating that dashboard and getting that thing in place, is what's going to allow you to go from lifestyle to a lasting business. Very, very important, and that's where your decisions are made off of. The third thing is that intentionally think profit, is that you're intentionally thinking about building the profit margin, and that you've got a team of people that are intentionally thinking about building the profit margin, and that you understand that profit comes from not just top end but bottom end, and you're managing a consistent top end and bottom end that other people are creating. Other people are creating the top end sales. Other people are protecting the expenses of the company, and that's what you're thinking as the owner. These are the decisions to advance, to go all in to create the lasting business. So this is huge. The last thing is to set your purpose, your mission, and your values. Now, I could do an entire day on this, but basically, you're just running and gunning to get to lifestyle. And when you're in lifestyle, you don't really need a purpose, a mission, and values. You just need sales, and that's what you do. And so people that are in lifestyle businesses, all they talk to me about is sales. They talk to me, hey, here's our opt-ins, here's how much money we made. It's all about sales. But if you're going to create a business that sustains without you and scales without you, You've got to create a purpose, and a purpose is something of why your business exists. Your mission will be, what is the current mission that we're going to accomplish? And the values will be creating how we operate as people and what we do as people. And I don't have time to go in there, but these are the decisions you must make to advance. And this is what will get you moving from what we call the move from entrepreneur to CEO. And on my podcast, the Seven Figure CEO podcast, you hear people talking all the time about what you did to make a living and what you did to create a lifestyle is not what you do. And the hardest jump for people is from lifestyle to lasting, because the lasting business creates there's so many skill sets that you have to develop as the leader that you just don't have. You can't win off your natural gut. You can't win off your natural skill sets. You'll only win off creating the new ones. And that's why people come to me. They come to me, they're stuck in living, they want to get to lifestyle. They're stuck in lifestyle, they want to get to lasting. And it's just creating these decisions and then knowing what to do to advance. Now I want to introduce you to a dear now friend of mine and client. And she started off, and we did something, and what we're talking about today is that we have a couple of things available, and it's just 2 things available, and here's what it is. It's called Breakthrough Days. And this is Leah, and Leah is an unbelievable business owner. She came to me off of our Seven Figure CEO podcast, and we had a Skype call, 2 Skype calls, and I remember sitting there and listening to her about what she was doing. And literally, she can tell you a little bit more of her story, but for those of you out there who are struggling to make a living and trying to get to lifestyle, she has done it, and done it unbelievably. They went from literally not being able to pay their bills and buy groceries and gas in the same week to now creating an unbelievable amount of revenue on a monthly basis. And so I want to welcome Leah. Hey, Leah.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great. You sound great. So let's make sure everybody can hear Renee. I think everybody probably can. You good? So Leah, talk just a little bit about when you were listening to the podcast and all that kind of stuff. How did it relate with your story? Like, where were you? What is your story in a nutshell?
Well, basically, we started out with nothing. I mean, I'm a musician, and I had created music that was, I was developing a little bit of a niche for myself, and we were in a horrible financial place, like basically on a treadmill. It's that the dreaded treadmill. And my husband was like a wonderful husband and father, but like our construction business was not going anywhere, and the cost of living was getting worse and worse. We're in the Vancouver area, Canada. And so I was feeling really desperate as a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids, and I'm like, I've got to do something. And I mean, every fiber of my being, like I was so fed up with not having choices in life, like no choices. We can't even have the choice to save money. No choices. So I took the little bits of royalty money that I was making, and I started educating myself. I started investing my royalties. I was having a little success, and I started investing that into courses and just educating myself. And before you know it, I was applying these business concepts in my music business, and that really set my music business on fire. And so then eventually ended up creating info products on what was working in the music world that had nothing to do with music. And so from there, that thing basically turned into a monster really fast. I mean, we had this info product now, and it turned into Frankenstein like overnight. And we had no idea that it was gonna, strike a chord, no pun intended, in that market like that. And we had nothing to go off of. We had no mentors. We had no business training in like this whole sector. We didn't know what the heck we were doing, basically. And so all we had was your podcast and some books. And so from that point, we started listening to you, and we started applying like everything we could. I mean, we were like sponges, addicted to your podcast, like listening to it over and over. I mean, driving around in the van, it was minivan university, and it still is to this day. Every grocery store trip the podcast is on. We're learning. So from there, we heard you talk about an opportunity to get some deeper training or something, and we're like, dang, Well, I got nothing to lose. I'm just going to send him an email because I know from listening to all of these podcasts with all these millionaires, I know for a fact every single one of them invests into coaching and some kind of mentorship or direct input into them as people and their businesses. So we're like, we don't even know a single person who we could even do that with, but then we heard that invitation to reach out, so we did. And I honestly, I'm still a little starstruck that you even like talked to me.
Oh, come on, Leah. You're the star. Look at the picture.
Oh yeah. Well, we had a little help with that. So
you did that. And then what we offered is what we're talking about today. And for you guys listening, I have 2 appointment opportunities that are called Breakthrough Days. And that's what Leah heard and her husband Steve. And they decided to come down. Breakthrough Days are simply where we get together in this room, is actually literally the room, and look at the nice little wall, and you can see the downtown view of Atlanta. It's a suite at the W in downtown Atlanta. We come together and we spend a day and a half with each other, and we focus exclusively on your business. So what made you, like when you said, hey, I want to take the step to come down, I want to do the Breakthrough Day, what did the Breakthrough Day, what just being in the Breakthrough Day, what was that like for you, the experience itself?
Oh man, the experience was awesome. I mean, like I said, we had just come from a place where we couldn't buy groceries and fill up the gas tank in the same week. We had to really plan that out and be strategic with that. To a place where we were paying a lot of money to just come in and fly in and get your direct input. That was surreal. The fact that we could do that with almost not even blinking in a short amount of time. It was wild, absolutely wild. But being there was, that was the best decision we ever made in our business.
Why? Specifically, share with everybody why, like what we did, and just kind of what the result, the output was of you being there.
Well, what happened was we got, like I said, we've had no formal business training, and even if we did, we needed some serious clarity in what we were doing. So the reason it was so awesome was because, first of all, we had like direct input into where we were at, what we needed to do. I mean, we planned out our entire year while we were there. But, it's like, like one of those seminars that you go to or a marketing conference and you're like, whoa, and it's all rah, but you come away and you kind of like, I'm really excited, but I'm not exactly sure what for. Well, coming away from this, it was like, we're all excited, but we know exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, who we need to hire, what our next product is, the timeline of when we're doing everything. I mean, it was like, I don't know, strategy on steroids. I don't know how else to describe it. So we came away not feeling overwhelmed, but like ready to get to work. Like I've never been so ready. Like we couldn't wait to get home and start doing this stuff. And I think.
And what's happened since you got home?
Well, that's the thing is that when we came to Atlanta, we had just had our very first $100,000 month. Like we were so excited. And since then, it's been a few months since then, and we have almost doubled that. I mean, we just celebrated our first $180,000 month, which is just unbelievable. I mean, that really doesn't sink in at all. And it's just like, oh my gosh. The only reason that has even happened, though, and I'm convinced of this, and just from listening to your podcast as well, is because we actually do the stuff that that you said to do. We actually take action on it. Like we didn't come there to just like feel cool and then walk away. Thanks for the advice, Casey. See you later. Like we got to work. We came home and we have implemented everything that you told us to do. Yeah. And that's what's come of it. We're like, I don't know what percentage that is that we've increased, but a lot. I'm okay with it.
I think another thing is that people don't realize when you do something like this is that then you've gotten access to all of our resources, being just our resources, but then there are relationships. And now you're in a launch with a guy that we knew that's a good guy. And like, I think that's the thing that people don't realize about investing in themselves is you don't only get the coach, you get everything that the coach knows and everybody that the coach knows. Not necessarily that they're always going to give you all their contacts, and that's not the point of it, but there's the side benefits as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it was wild. I mean, we were sitting there with you and you're like randomly calling people, oh, let me call this person on the phone. Let me call this person. And they were like talking to your amazing contacts right there in our meeting, which was awesome. And just getting, their input. I love that.
Yeah, that's good. So for everybody listening, Leah, last question I have for you, and then I know you got to run, is why should people fill out an application to be a part of our Breakthrough Days? And it is an application, and this is not for everybody, and it's only for people that are willing to invest at least 5 figures in training. So it's a hefty fee. Why should somebody listening to this today want to be a part of it?
It's pure ROI as far as I'm concerned. We wouldn't have done that if we didn't know for a fact that we were going to make that back in a really short amount of time. Like, we knew that if we wanted to go to the next level, and I don't mean to say that in a cliche way, but I mean for real. If we didn't want it to all go away, basically, we knew we better know what the heck we're doing with ourselves and with our business. Like, we know that we don't know enough and we need to be really wise. And to me, that was the best investment that we could make in order to get a huge return on investment. And hello, I'm 180K a month just last month. So I mean,
so last June, what did you make?
0. we were like, I mean, like I said, we were still trying to figure out how to buy groceries and gas in the same week. So I mean, it's insane what you can do right now. But I also, if you don't, like, this was the thing that freaked us out, and why we came to you in the first place was because we knew if we don't do this right, if we don't have the exact strategies in our own business and know who to hire and what to do, we knew that it could go away tomorrow. It really could. And so to me, it was far less risky for me to pay a fee and know what the heck we're doing when we got home and be able to implement that. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, we have increased our revenues like crazy. And because we didn't just listen to you, we didn't just come there and do that, but we actually got home and we got to work and we started doing what you said when we look back at our notes on a weekly basis. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Now, I said that was the last question. This is really my last one. I think you're going to make enough revenue this year to make the 7-Figure CEO podcast, which would be awesome. And then we can talk for like 45 minutes. But for you said at the very beginning you were tired of not having options. Tell people like now what y'all are thinking as it relates to just your family's options and like what's available to you guys now, like with just your lifestyle.
Oh my word. So much. I mean, it's still hard to even wrap my head around that any of this has even happened. I have to pinch myself every day. But I mean, at this point, we don't have any ties. We can kind of work from anywhere in the entire world, which opens up a lot of options. And now it's like option overload. It's like, do we want to move here? Do we want to move there? Like, what should we do? What do we want to invest in? Where do we want to buy a house? Like, all of a sudden we have choices, which is it's just wild, absolutely wild that we can do this. And that's the other thing, is that one of the awesome things I came away with from the Breakthrough Day, my husband and I, is we knew exactly what kind of business we had. And that took a huge weight off of my shoulders because I wasn't sure, like, is this the business I'm passing down to my kids? Is this, what we referred to as our Guinness, the family generation business, or is this a lifestyle business? And we were able to figure that out within the first couple hours we were there, and that took a huge weight off of my shoulders. And we know now what we're doing and why we're doing it and where we're going. So that's huge. But then be able to run this thing from wherever we want in the world is absolutely surreal.
That's awesome. Leah, thank you so much for being here and talking with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Anytime.
That's awesome. So guys, thank Leah. We will put in the box ways that you can connect with her on social media or buy her albums. She's an artist, but also we'll send you what their website is. So thank you so much, Leah. So if you're interested in being a part, and we're going to jump into just the last piece of the content here in a minute, CaseyGraham.com/breakthrough. It's that simple. All you do is set up a call. We actually can jump on the call immediately if you fit the right criteria, and we will talk about you coming and having the same experience that Leah did. CaseyGraham.com/breakthrough, and we'll put that in the chat box as well. So go fill it out. I have 2 spaces. It's not a sales and marketing pitch that we have 2 spaces. We have 2 spaces. It's that simple. We only do 1 a month. We have 2 spaces open. We'd love to fill those. Happens in Atlanta, Georgia. And man, it would be an unbelievable thing for you. And if you're thinking like I'm broke and I don't know if I can do all this kind of stuff, well, the question is, are you happy with where you are? If you are, stay there. If not, come break through and get a day and a half of this together. So let's get into the last part of the content, and then we're going to wrap this down. There's the characteristics of the lasting business. This is what it looks like from the very end. Is for personal, is that this requires more skill than effort. So what I mean by that is getting a business started is a lot of effort. There's some luck involved, and there's just it's just work. But you got to learn skills, and the skill sets to get to a lasting business, you can't just pick up by books. You've got to learn through mentors, through coaches, through people who have acquired these skills before, and then you learn those skills from them. Your time and energy is spent on people and money allocation. Basically, you're not doing anything in the business anymore but looking at people, getting good people, and you're allocating money. The people is that you've hired to all disciplines. The scaling business has every single sales, marketing, operation, R&D, whatever it is in your kind of business, they've all been hired, and you're running the business from a big picture standpoint. You're not doing any operations anymore. You lead through dashboards, not through gut, and that's what it looks like. Here's what the org chart will look like. Obviously, it's more of a traditional org chart where you have the leader and then you've got the different disciplines, and it's very organized, but it's not centered around the leader. The leader influences the org chart, but it's not centered around the leader like the lifestyle business is. Everything is measured with systems. Every process is known. Every component of the business is broken down into something that you can see, you can measure, and that you can absolutely know. Healthy and driven off of efforts of others is what money looks like. You're not producing. You're not selling. You're not the one doing it all. It's healthy because other people are doing it all, and there's profit coming in. It's off the effort of everybody else in their disciplines. And this is many sold and developed at the same time as products and services, is that you can have many different lines of business and none of them suffer because you're focusing on one or the other. That's the difference between lifestyle and lasting. The lasting business can have many different things happening. It can have many different divisions. It can have many different services, many different products. And this is what it looks like to be in a lasting business. So how do I make this reality for me? Is CaseyGraham.com/breakthrough. It's that simple. I would love for you to go through there, and I'd love to hear where you are, what you got going on, and we can take your business. We've had businesses come in, that have like say $250,000 in revenue, and focus on how do you get to 7 figures. We've had businesses come in that we were just with a $50 million company the other day. So everywhere, all in between, and the revenue number does not dictate whether it's a living lifestyle or lasting. That's not what dictates it. What dictates is how you're operating in the 5 components. And so that's very important to understand. So you can create a lasting business that's a $1.5 million business. It's that simple. Like you can create a lasting business that's a $1 billion business. You can create a living business that's $500,000 that you make a big old living, but it's all dependent on you. So it's not necessarily dependent on how much money you make, but the criteria through which the business operates. Can it depend? Does the business survive without you? Can it run without you? Can it thrive without you? Those kind of things. So fill out the form, CaseyGraham.com/breakthrough, and we will look forward to seeing you guys and talking to you if this is something that's going to work out. Can't wait to talk with you guys, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.